Happy New Year. Welcome to 2024. The number one question that people are asking this week is, do you have a New Year's resolution? And your answer may be yes, absolutely. I have a resolution for this year. Or it may be, I haven't even had time to think about it yet. Or it may be, I don't do resolutions anymore. Whatever your answer is, I am glad you're here because I want to encourage you to do one thing before you answer that question. Want to know what it is? Well, then let's dive into the show. You, my friend, were made for more. More than the managing of schedules, keeping up with kiddos, and holding down the home front. Welcome to the Milspouse Mastermind Show, the podcast that empowers you to get unstuck and craft a life with more meaning and less overwhelm. I'm your host, Christine, seasoned military spouse, mom of 3, and your guide to designing a life you love and growing a purpose-fueled business as a military spouse. I believe you have something valuable to offer, and when you pursue the things that light your heart on fire, you trade frustration for fulfillment and isolation for a life of impact. It's time to discover who you are meant to be, because together we can change the world. Hello, friend. I'm so happy to be back with you, to be starting a new year fresh. I don't know about you, but for me, December was a scramble. And even though I tried to think ahead as much as possible and tried to be intentional with our time and plan things out in advance, there was still just a lot that happened in the month of December. Just things that pulled my time in a lot of directions. And so I absolutely love Christmas. It is my favorite holiday, but there is a sense of, okay, that was a lot and I'm ready for a chance to refocus and not have quite so many things on my plate. Now, what I'm going to talk us through today is that you don't have to start at the beginning of the year to truly create a meaningful life for yourself this year. But I do want to acknowledge that there is a chance, a feeling that January can be a fresh start, a blank slate for us to be even more intentional with how we spend our time and energy. And so our tendency can be to rush into setting goals for our year, to come up with the New Year's resolution that we're going to share with others. But there is one thing that I would encourage you and I and all of us to do before we make any kind of New Year's resolution or set a goal. Why? Because the data tells us that unless your resolution is more than a resolution, unless you have an actual plan to accomplish that resolution and some accountability, it's probably not going to happen. In fact, a recent Forbes survey found that the average resolution lasts just 3.74 months. So what am I suggesting that you do instead? Well, the first thing is what we're going to talk about today. And then the second thing that I want you to do is join me live for a goal setting workshop where I will talk you through how to be intentional with your year. If you want to make a change in your life, if you want to pursue any kind of goal, if you have a dream but you're not sure how to make it happen, I want you to save the date and join me inside our free Facebook community on Wednesday, January 17th at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In this workshop, we are going to plan out our year together so that you can set yourself up for a year of intentionality and purpose. This is for you if you are looking ahead to a blank calendar, or if you're looking ahead and you have a PCS you are planning for, or if you know that your spouse is going to be deploying, if you have a baby on the way. This is for you if you have no idea what's coming and you feel like you're living in limbo. This specific goal planning method I have personally been using for the last 5-ish years. It has helped me so much to keep making progress, even in the years that we PCS, even in the years that we have crazy life stuff happening. Because what I see happen often is that we fail to set goals or actually make progress on those goals because we are so focused on all of the obstacles that can get in our way. And so we don't do anything. And when we don't take action, we stay stuck. And that is not what I want for you. I want you to get unstuck and craft a life with purpose. So mark your calendar and I will see you live inside our Facebook community on January 17th. If you are not already in our free Facebook community, just go to milspousemastermind.com/community or click the link in the show notes below, and I will see you there. Now, before we plan out our year together, there is one important thing that I want you to do first, and that is what we are going to spend the rest of our time today focused on. The one thing that I want you and I and all of us to do before we start to plan out our year, to set any goals or intentions or choose a word of the year, we need to first and foremost take time to reflect on the last year. This is our chance to think through the last 365 days and really look back on what happened in that time. I will share this quote in our live training, but I think it's really important for us to start here. It's a quote from John Dewey, and he says, "We do not learn from experience. We learn from reflecting on experience." I'll repeat that again. We do not learn from experience. We learn from reflecting on experience. We can go through life. We can have ups, we can have downs, we can accomplish great things, but how we're really going to grow, how we're going to learn from what we've gone through only comes when we take time to reflect on what happened. What went well? Where did we struggle? And what lessons can we take into the future? And so this is going to be somewhat of a short episode because it's really focused on giving you prompts that you can go and sit with. I would definitely encourage you to take a little time to reflect on the last year. I sat down the other day to do this exercise, and it was interesting because the things that I noticed, I never would have noticed had I not taken the time to reflect. For example, I realized that in December of 2022, so a full year ago, I really took a step back from my business, from everything I was doing, because I really wanted to create enough margin and space for me to enjoy the Christmas season, to be able to embrace and to spend lots of time as a family making memories. And I was very successful in doing that. And if I go back and I look at my monthly reviews, because I do a monthly assessment at the end of each month, and I was in a really great place in December of 2022. I scored higher in my monthly assessment than I have in almost any of the other months around it. But when I think about that, that by itself makes me want to do more of that, to repeat that, because, hey, that season, that felt so good. I had so much margin. But what I would never have seen unless I took the time to go through each month was how much more stress that put on me in January. So while December of 2022 was a really great month for me personally, and in my mental and emotional and physical health, January was a much different story because I was trying to do all of these things that I slid off my plate in December and I pushed them into January, and then I felt overwhelmed by how much I had to do come January to stay on track and all of the commitments I had on my plate at the time. That's just one example of something that reflection does for us. What I learned through that is that, yes, there's a lot going on in December. There's a lot that we don't necessarily have on our plate the other months of the year that comes on our plate in December. But if we push everything else off our plate, then we have to account for that in the future. And for December of 2023, last month, if I was willing to not push everything off my plate, if I still focused on getting some key things done in all these other areas of my life, yes, it would make December feel a little more crowded and rushed and crazy and overwhelmed, but it helped open up that extra space so that I don't feel that way come January. And I really have more of the foundation in place to set my entire year up for success. I don't know what will come out of your sitting down and taking the time to reflect, but I do know you will notice things about your year that you would never have done if you hadn't taken that time for reflection. So what I'm going to do is give you 7 prompts. And what I would encourage you to do is carve out some time, be it an hour, be it broken up into a couple of 10 or 20-minute sessions, whatever you need to do to give yourself some time and space to reflect. So here are 7 questions for you to sit down and reflect on your year. Number 1, where was I a year ago? What was I feeling? What was I doing? What was I struggling with? What was my life like a year ago? Just anchor yourself and think back over the last 365 days, because so much is possible in a year, but sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit for all the things that we have done in the space of a year. Number 2, what am I grateful for? When I think back over the last year and everything that's happened, what can I celebrate? What am I grateful for? And a slightly related question number 3, what am I proud of? Sometimes we just get in the motions of everything that needs to get done, and it's really important to take that time to think about all that we have accomplished in the last year, because I forget. I have a short memory. I get on to focusing on the next thing. It did a lot for me to reflect on the fact that, hey, yeah, in the last year, I was named the Armed Forces Insurance 2023 Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam Spouse of the Year. That happened this year. That was not even on my radar a year ago. I was named a semi-finalist in the Military Spouse of the Year Military Entrepreneur Challenge. I ran a half marathon this year. And when I find myself so easily drawn to all of the things that I wanted to have happen this year that didn't, when I can begin to reframe my thoughts and focus on, think about all the things that did happen that were good in your life this year, that helps ground me and focus my thoughts in the right place. And once we've reflected on what's good, what we can be grateful for, what we are proud of, then we can go into, okay, let me ask myself, question number 4, what were my biggest struggles? What did I try but didn't work? Where did I struggle? Question number 5, what circumstances, things outside of my control, got in my way? Because there's always things that we don't anticipate that end up happening, and it can delay our ability to make progress on our goals. So things happen, things can prevent us from making the progress that we want to, but it's important to notice those things. What circumstances got in my way? And once we've looked at, here's all the good things that have happened, here's the struggles we have, then it's time to kind of evaluate and assess. Okay, what do I need to let go of? What do I need to release? And then the last question, what can I learn from this year? What do I want to take with me into the next year? And when we get in this mindset of reflection, that allows us to set the stage for how we want to grow in the coming year, which we're going to talk about how to determine how we want to grow and how we actually do that in our live training together. But if you are wanting to get a head start, then I'm going to give you a couple of bonus things you can do as you reflect on your year. The number one bonus thing, and I did this and it was very eye-opening for myself, but is simply making a list of each month. Jot down a few of the things that happened in that month and then how you felt overall in each month. So you're looking at a month of a time to see what kind of patterns you can observe. And the second thing, bonus tip, is to assess the 10 key areas of your life. This is what I call the growth wheel because it divides our life into 10 key areas and we assess how we are doing in each of those 10 areas. I will go over all of this information with you in our live training together. And I will have a workbook that you can download. But if you're wanting to get started on this process, then I'm going to just send you to download the growth wheel, which is available for free all the time on my website. All you have to do is go to milspousemastermind.com/growth wheel, or you can just click the link in the show notes below. But that is where I want you to start today, this week, as you are thinking ahead to the new year. Take some time to stop and reflect on the last year. And once you've taken that time to reflect on 2023 and where you are today, then and only then are you in a place to begin to set your intentions and your goals for the coming year. If you are ready to make some changes in your life this year, if you are ready to step into your purpose, if you are like, this is the year that I take back control of my life and I choose to get unstuck and to craft a life with purpose, if you are ready for more meaning, more joy, less overwhelm in your life, if you want to change your relationship with yourself or others, or just feel like you are empowered to find fulfillment and to stop trying to serve everybody else and pour from an empty cup, then please, friends, join me for my free live training on January 17th. Share this with a friend in your life and say, hey, let's go watch this together. Let's talk about this. Let's do this together. Let's get some accountability. Because at the end of the day, it's not about the specific resolution that you choose or the goal that you set. This is about giving yourself what you need to make a change that lasts and to set yourself up for success in the new year. I am excited for this year. I am excited for who you will become in this year. And I can't wait to be back with you for more episodes each week. Next week, we're going to be talking about a simple framework to help you live more intentionally in the coming year. And then we will go live on January 17th to actually set our goals and plan out our year. Until then, may you live filled, fueled, and full of joy. Hey friend, before you go, the Milspouse Mastermind community is here to help you thrive as a military spouse. Figure out what lights your heart on fire and equip you to create a life of impact. You can have an incredible impact simply by heading over to iTunes to subscribe and leave a review. And if today's episode was meaningful to you, I know it will be for others too. Spread the word by taking a screenshot of this episode and share it to your stories so we can continue to reach more people, change more lives, and shift the way that military spouses look at life. Because we are better together, and together we can change the world. Let's do it.